What's good, folks? We back. Slice of life anime is supposed to feel real, but not all of them actually do. And a lot of them hit emotionally, and there are also some really relatable slice of lives out there. Although I will say some of them feel like they could never happen in real life. So today I'm ranking slice of life animes based on how good they actually are overall. But I'm also talking about how realistic they feel, because the show could be amazing and not feel realistic or relatable at all. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's talk about Catch Me at the Ballpark. Now, Catch Me at the Ballpark goes into the life of a concession stand girl at this baseball game. And honestly, I liked it enough for it to get me interested in baseball. But I'm not gonna say it's the greatest thing of all time. But I think it's definitely worth watching. But Catch Me at the Ballpark, I feel like it's lacking some meat on the bone compared to all the rest of these slice of lives. This one, it is going to get you locked in, but at the same time, it's not as memorable as a lot of the ones on this list. So I might just bump it down to C tier just because of that. But don't get me wrong, it's still great. For realism, it's extremely realistic because there's nothing crazy that actually happens on here. And I kind of like that about it. So realism, if I have to give it a rating, I give it a 9 out of 10 in realism. So as you can see, with Ballpark being in C tier, this list is gonna be stacked. Now let's talk about Dagashikashi, one of my favorite shows for big bags. Listen, I done said it before, it's a great anime that really gets you into the snacks in general. Listen, the snacks of Japan, it really explores that, and it also gives you a little bit of history lesson about what went on and all this stuff. And not only that, it kind of opened your eyes up to all the mom and pop shops that's going down and not being around no more because of the convenience stores. And it's really eye-opening, and at the same time it's very informative and funny. Now I gotta say, it is very memorable, but I don't know if I could put it on B tier just because there's some bangers in here. I will say, if we going off snacks alone and the food on there, it might have to be an A tier in food anime. But I'll give it a C tier. The way that I felt about it, it's kind of the same as Catch Me at the Ballpark. It got me interested in snacks from Japan, it really did. And it opened my eyes up a little bit more. So if I had to rate it, I'd say it's a slightly bit better than Catch Me at the Ballpark, but it's still great. I definitely gotta say, Dagashikashi, definitely worth the watch. And the characters, you're gonna get to feeling some type of way about them because they are interesting. But for me, it don't got that emotional drive that'll take it to the next level. And as for realism, it's, hey, if somebody act like that, they gotta be on some type of, hey, I don't know what they on, but they kind of, listen, this girl right here, she crazy about Dagashikashi, a little overly crazy, where I'm concerned about their safety. But I gotta say, I'll give it a 4 out of 10 for realism. Just cause, you know, it is possible that you could find someone that crazy about snacks. I give it a 5 out of 10 for that. Alright, now let's talk about one of the shows that I'm currently watching. Listen, I'm not done with it, but as of now, I feel like I watched enough to give it a rating on how I feel about it so far. You get to see this guy who's extremely lazy, but see that he has some great detective skills. Listen, he's good at deducing the problem, and the problems, they be very realistic. And I ain't gonna lie, when I watch it, I be trying to solve some of the problems with him. And I gotta say, Hyoka is really good at it. So far, it's really good. But at the same time, the stakes so far have not been there for me. There wasn't no emotional moment that made me cry or anything like that. There wasn't nothing as emotional as I wanted it to be. But I will say, it has potential. Listen, so far I haven't finished it, but as for what I've seen right now, it's really good. But the only thing that I feel like is holding it back right now is that the stakes haven't been up high enough. Listen, I know Slice of Life is about feeling realistic, and it has some very realistic goals on here, and nothing's over the top. So for realism, I'm not gonna lie, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. You know what? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for realism. For quality, I'm gonna put it, I think I'll put it low B tier, low B tier, low B tier. Now let's talk about Sweetness and Lightning. So with Sweetness and Lightning, this show is honestly heartwarming, and it's just one of those feel good shows that you really gonna resonate with. and seeing how far this father is willing to go to make sure his daughter has a smile on her face is heartwarming. It really reminds me of another thing that I'm gonna talk about on here, and I gotta say, easily a B tier for me. Listen, I put it above Hyoka. I put it above Hyoka. I feel like it gives you that emotional moment that you need. And I ain't gonna say you're gonna be crying or nothing like that, but you definitely gonna it's definitely gonna put a smile on your face, and it's gonna really have you thinking and just smiling the whole time. Now, let me talk about one thing that I did a deep breakdown on. This one right here. Listen, we talking about a place further than the universe. This show, when I do a deep dive on something, I really gotta rock with it. This was the first show that made me do a deep dive, so you know that it's something special. And there's nothing that crazy happening. When I say, well, it is kind of crazy because they do go all the way to Antarctica and they save up their money, and they listen, it was a hard trip to get there, so I will say there is some crazy things that happen in here, but overall everything is grounded, and you really get to build a connection to every character because every character got their own purpose and they feel like their own main character. So with a place further in the universe, you should already know I'm about to give this a easy A tier, high A tier. A place further in the universe. If you haven't seen it, I promise you, if you get past those first 2 episodes, you're gonna be locked in the entire time. Matter of fact, if you click on my deep dive video after this, you're gonna be locked into it off that way. And for realism, I give it a 4 out of 10 just because how hard it is to go to Antarctica and how much permission you gotta have, but it's very informative and a great watch. Now let's get into 5 centimeters per second. Now this one, I can't lie. The first time I watched it, I did kind of sleep on it. But I promise you, if you actually pay attention and you lock in, it's gonna change. I ain't gonna say it's life changing, but it's a great story. A real top of the line type of story that really tells a story throughout sound and visuals. It's one of those stories where there's nothing happening, but you feel everything at one time. I know that probably don't make sense to you, but let me tell you, when you watch 5 centimeters per second, you see very relatable stuff happening in here, like not being able to speak up on what you want to say and just failing to do something that you want to do so much. Like, oh my god, 5 centimeters per second, it's one of those shows that I really felt relatable to, just because sometimes it's hard to say what you want to say. And the heartbreak on here, listen, ain't nobody crying, but you do get to see that life itself separated 2 people, and it's really amazing. Listen, I think it's almost a masterpiece. Now, I don't think it's on the same level as a place further in the universe, but it's really good. But to watch it, you gotta really lock in. Listen, I feel like this one, you gotta pay attention to really grasp what this movie's saying. So I'll put it high B tier, very high. And noise in this anime is very important. Listen, when you hear the cicadas, you hear the silence. Listen, everybody stop talking and you hear the bugs just get louder and louder. The nature around them is getting louder, and the moment itself feels bigger because of that. So with realism, I gotta give this one, you know what, 11 out of 10, because it's showing you some very realistic stuff. It's just saying that life get in the way of the stuff we want a lot of the time, and sometimes it's hard to really speak your mind and say what you want to say. Alright, now let's talk about Silver Spoon. Now, Silver Spoon is also one of them very relatable animes, just because the whole gist of it, the whole premise of it, is not knowing what you want to do in life at a time. Like, you could really relate to this because a lot of people, as soon as they done with college, they done with high school, they don't know what they want to do, and it just feels like you in an endless loop. And you see that in Silver Spoon, that everybody around this man, they already know what they want to do, so he feels left out and almost isolated because of that. And that's so, hey, you could tell right now that that's very relatable to me. And I really do like the message that Silver Spoon is going for. Now, as for all the events in Silver Spoon, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's basically This city boy goes to the country. He learning. Listen, this man didn't know where eggs came from. I don't think he ever tasted eggs before. And basically, he's learning how they live over there and what they want to do with their lives. When he feel left out because he has no idea what he want to do, I definitely like the message, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie and tell you that it's on the same level as these other ones. I think it's because hey, I feel like a part of this is because I'm already a country boy, so I already know most of this stuff anyway. Listen, we know about the horses, the cattle, we know about all that. I gotta say, as for how interesting the events of the story are, it's kind of a, it might be a D. No, D tier might be too harsh. D tier might be too harsh because it is a good anime to watch. I'll put it low C tier. I can't disrespect it like that because the message, the meaning of it itself is very powerful and very loud and extremely relatable, and everything on here, it feels realistic in a goofy way, but at the same time it still feels realistic. So Silver Spoon, I think I'm gonna have to give it, I give it a low C tier. But for realism, the characters, they do act a bit crazy. So I say I give it a 7 out of 10 just because the events could definitely happen, but the characters, they're a little bit over the top. Alright, now let's talk about Real Life. Now Real Life is about the story of this guy who takes this pill that makes him look like he's 17 again, and he's 27. Listen, it doesn't actually change his age. Basically, he's a part of this social experiment where he goes back to school and he gets a break from his job. I will say it is kind of crazy and it's almost impossible. Listen, I think with enough science it could possibly happen. He almost like a father figure to some of the high school kids because he's giving them real life information that they would need when they grow up. And on the other hand, he almost seems as dumb as a doorknob because he ain't did that in so long that he forgot everything about it. And not only that, the pill that this man took, it didn't fix his bones or nothing like that. So, you know, he still got them cobblestone knees. He just look young. So I did like that little addition to it. But this show kind of shows that there's different things that you need in life, and it almost tells you that school is not really going to teach you everything that you need to know in life. Real Life is a great anime. Now, is it realistic? No, not at all. But I will definitely say it gotta be in the A tier. There's no and it's a buts about it. It has to be an A tier. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's definitely worth the watch. Alright, next up, we talking about a classic, one of the bangers, one of the saddest animes out there. We talking about Your Lie in April. Now, Your Lie in April is one of the first animes that I watched that really, it's the first anime that I watched that really had me bawling out my eyes. Listen, I used to say that Your Lie in April was the best thing ever, and I will say it's still one of them top animes I've watched to this day. But listen, I didn't say that just because there's a lot of stuff in here that makes this amazing, because the journey that they go through, the musical notes, how happy it feels at the beginning just for it to just come crashing down, and oh my goodness, I'm really tempted to, I'm tempted, but we gonna put it in A tier. We gonna put it in A tier for now. If it changes, it'll change. Hey, I gotta really think on it. But there's nothing lacking here. Listen, it got emotional moments. It got characters that you really grow to care about, and you see these people and you just smile because everything they went through and everything they going through and how good of a time they're having. And the way it ends, oh my goodness, listen, my nose getting stuffed up just from talking about it. I'm fighting myself not to put this in S tier right now. I'm gonna put it in A tier because I might have found something better. Hey, we gonna see. We gonna have to see. But it's definitely worth it. If you didn't watch Your Lie in April, what are you actually doing? Hey, I done made multiple videos on it for a reason. Listen, hey, I say check out the videos before you check out Your Lie in April. But definitely one of ones. Now, let's talk about Onaha, the flower we saw that day. Now, the flower we saw that day, it is a bit emotional. It reminds me of Your Lie in April a little bit, just because the ending is quite sad, but I don't think it's on the same level as Your Lie in April. It didn't have my eyes balling out. I wasn't expecting it, but it's definitely a very good watch. And I don't think it's as good as 5 centimeters per second, so I'll put it right there. But basically, what this story is about, it's about this group of friends who grow up and they have some trauma and they really can't get past their past trauma. And this girl has this mission that she has to complete before she could go out and adventure and other things. Listen, with Remember the Flower we saw that day, is extremely hard to explain it without spoiling it. So I'm gonna stop right there and say it's a high B tier. Listen, high B tier. Very good show, and it might get a whimper out of you. Hey, I ain't even gonna lie, I share exactly 1 tier on here just because seeing such a cool person break down, that was like, yeah. So I'll give it a high B. And as for realism, I listen, the way I interpret it, it's mainly mental games that they're playing with. But I'll say I give it a 0 out of 10. I'll put it as impossible. Now, let's talk about something that's not gonna make you cry, it's gonna make you smile. Let's talk about Barkamon. Now, Barkamon, it's almost inspiring to watch just because of how happy they are and how simple their life they live is. So Barkamon realism is definitely gonna be a 10 out of 10. And for how good it is, I think it's one of the best feel good animes out there. So I'll give it high B tier. High B tier over a Honoha Flower. Listen, these two could be interchangeable. They about tied, but I think that threshold right there between B and A is very, very hard to get through. Now, Barkamon is really good to watch, and it's really gonna it's a guaranteed smile on your face. You know what? I'm gonna put it above 5 centimeters per second because I think it's really that good, but I'm not gonna put it in A tier just yet. Now, let's talk about Grave of the Fireflies. Now, when I first heard of Grave of the Fireflies, I left a comment talking about what was the saddest anime you ever watched, and they said Grave of the Fireflies. Let me tell you, they was not lying. Grave of the Fireflies, it's the saddest thing that it's the saddest anime you could ever watch. It's about a real life war story. It's about this kid who goes through a lot of pain and a lot of struggle war times, and it's very heartbreaking. It's one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen, and hey, it will make you cry. If you don't cry on Grave of the Firefly, listen, I'm already questioning you if you didn't cry in Your Lie in April, but if you don't cry on Grave of the Fireflies, you a different breed. I can't lie to you. Hey, you have no remorse. You need to go check yourself out. What the hell wrong with you? But Grave of the Fireflies is based on a real story, and it's truly heartbreaking. It's one of the most memorable things I've ever seen that really makes you more grateful for what you have in life, and I'll definitely put it A tier. Now, I don't know if I want to say it's better than Your Lie in April, but it's definitely up there with it. I'll put it right below Your Lie in April. Listen, Grave of Firefly, it's very hard for me to put one over the other. Now, let's talk about March Coming Like a Lion. Now, with March Coming Like a Lion, it's one of the shows, listen, you follow this shogi player who's really been through a lot, and though it seems like he's very successful on the outside, he's actually dealing with a lot on the inside and a lot of pain. Now, I know it's one of the classics, and it took me a minute to get into, and honestly, if I'm being truthful, the glad dropping it might have been a sign, because I watched the first season of it, and maybe I need to watch more of it, but as of now, I beat it. Maybe I gotta watch some more of it, maybe I gotta rewatch it a little bit, because sometimes I do be judging stuff too quickly based off the hype. But as for now, I'm putting it in B tier. It could definitely change though, just because I ain't really got too emotionally into it. Listen, there was some moments that's very memorable, but as for now, I'm gonna leave it in high B tier. Hey, it could go up, it could go up. And for realism and March Coming Like a Lion, I feel like it's a once in a lifetime thing for someone to be a prodigy shogi player like that. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 just because of how hard that would be. But everything else in it, it could definitely happen. But now let's talk about the Garden of Words. Now the Garden of Words is one of those shows that's it really reminds me of 5 centimeters per second. I did a deep dive on both of them at the same time just because they're very similar. And it does have a nice message to it. As for where I would rank it, for me personally, I don't think it's as good as 5 centimeters per second, but it's extremely close to it. So I'll put it right below 5 centimeters per second, above a Honoha, the flower we saw that day. And it's also one of those stories that really use sound and just the atmosphere around it to really build up the entire movie, because the entire movie happens in one place basically. But now let's talk about A Silent Voice. Now, A Silent Voice, this is another one that came from someone commenting. I asked them what's the most realistic anime they ever seen, and someone said A Silent Voice, and I can't lie, this anime, the only anime till this day that made me rage and made me want to punch somebody upside the head. And at the same time, it's a really heartbreaking story because A Silent Voice is about someone who goes through life filled with guilt just because when they were a kid they did a lot of bad things. Listen, they was a little badass. You probably was too. But I gotta say, A Silent Voice is almost life changing. I'll put A Silent Voice high A tier. You know what? Borderline S tier. Borderline S tier. It's definitely up there. And now that I'm looking at this, we're gonna change this. We're gonna change it up a little bit at the end. But A Silent Voice is definitely one of the top slice of life animes. But as for realism in A Silent Voice, I'll give it a 20 out of 10. Because this one, it is one of the most realistic movies that I ever seen, and it's very sad in a way. Now, let's talk about Remake Our Lives. Now, Remake Our Lives, off the jump, I'm gonna go on and say it. There is time travel in there, so that's a 0% chance of happening. So for realism, I'm gonna go on and say it. 0 out of 10, impossible. Unless someone do figure out time travel. If they do, hey, hit me up. I want to be the first to use time travel. But the story itself, the reason I put it on here, because the story itself, the characters, they never throw hands. Nobody ever throw a single punch. But this show is so amazing because it's so inspiring. It really inspired me. It's very motivational. And the characters on there, you can see that they have a real passion for what they do. And I say it's gotta be, listen, it might not be very realistic. It might not be a real pure slice of life, but it's definitely a great story. And one of the only stories where there is exactly 0 punches being thrown that got me locked in like this. So I gotta say, Remake Our Lives, I put it on here twice. I'll put it A tier. A tier, A tier, A tier. Right below Relife. I think both stories are amazing. They both definitely deserve A tier. And now, let's talk about Insomniac After School. Now, Insomniac After School, I talked about it recently. I really enjoyed it. Listen, this is one of the most funniest things to watch. Listen, as of now, if anyone would tell me what anime should I watch, I'ma definitely tell them Insomniac After School, because it's a bit of slice of life, but it's also kind of a romance anime. But the things that they go through and the people they're around, I really like the story because of that. So as of now, I put it in high A tier, high A tier. But now let's talk about Kids on the Slope. Now, Kids on the Slope, I did a deep dive on this, and hey, when it comes to Kids on the Slope, it's definitely one and my favorites of all time, but just because the jazz music, what they going through, and the main character knows how to speak up for himself and be his own person. And I feel like the story itself is also very relatable, because I feel like if you're not relatable to one character, you could definitely be relatable to the other one. And it's definitely a top tier anime. As of right now, I'm putting Kids on the Slope I'm gonna put it in A tier. Listen, just because I gotta figure this out, because we about to change some stuff around, because I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna put in S tier. Alright, so I moved some stuff around. I had to really think about it for a good while. And so far, hey, this is what I got right here. We got Kids on the Slope in S tier, and we got A Silent Voice in S tier. Borderline in S tier, we got Insomniac After School. I was really tempted to put that in S tier, but I could see someone saying that it's more of a romance than a slice of life, so that's why I didn't put it in S tier. But as a little recap, in S tier we got Kids on the Slope and A Silent Voice. In A tier we got Insomniac After School, Your Lie in April, Grave of the Fireflies, A Place Further in the Universe, Relife, and Remake Our Lives. And in B tier, we got March Coming Like a Lion, Barkamon, 510 meters per second, Garden of Words, Onaha, The Flower We Saw That Day, Sweetness and Lightning, and Hiroka. And in C tier, we got Dagashikashi, Catch Me at the Ballpark, and Silver Spoon. But if you like any of these shows itself, I already did videos on every last one of these shows, except for the current ones I'm currently watching. But be on the lookout for that. Listen, if you want to see what I was talking about with A Place Further in the Universe, definitely click right here. And if you want to see all my deep dives, then click right here. Hey, it's some bangers in there. Definitely like, and I'll do more tier list videos like this. But with that being said, like, subscribe, hit the over if you want it, and it's all still over. Hit the subscribe.